literally. And I ain't talking about sitting on the sideline. I'm talking about I've been in the mix all that time. You know what I'm saying? I ain't been. I'm talking about not talking about being an associate and not talking about trying to fit in. See, because the key thing was, in them days we weren't I wasn't initiated into the gang. I lived in ground zero. I was. How can I not be a part of the gang when I walk out my front door and you shooting at me? How can I not be a part of the gang when I'm walking down the street and y'all trying to jump on me? You see what I'm saying? Because of where I live at. And you know that's what afflicted a lot of people and made them join gangs. People think that it's the internal aspects of the gang that make people join gangs. It's more the external aspects too. Because you can go to a school, you can live here, you can live on 27th and Dalton right here, and you can go to school a mile away at Fauché Junior High School. And if you go to school at Fauché Junior High, which the school district, I always say, right there at 29th Street, right there, where that red sign is barely sticking from under that tree, divides our school districts up. This is what I be telling people. Come here with the camera 1 second. I just want you to catch this. That's the school district division right there, the dividing line right there. And we sitting here, you can practically that's about the length of a football field. Am I correct when I say that? From here to that sign right there. But when you cross that sign, that's Fauché School District. And when you go to Fauché School District, that's gonna be all Crips at Fauché. Now, if you live down here, they not gonna let you go to school in peace because of the fact that they gonna look at you and they gonna say you live down there with them. You live there, you know them. You can't say I associate, because as soon as you acknowledge, they gonna start saying, oh, you won. And that's what makes a lot of people join, because now you go under pressure from the opposition just because you live in a certain space. So you don't wanna fight these guys by yourself every day. You gotta go to school every day. You ain't done nothing to be bothered, but just live where you live. When you come back to school every day, when you come home, they want to chase you home, they want to take your lunch money, they want to jump on you. When you get back home, you're going to see them dudes in the hood that's cool with you. And them dudes that you see in the hood that's cool with you, and you tell them what your problems are, they're going to tell you, we got you. But they're going to tell you also, when you see them dudes again after this here, them dudes going to look at you as one of us. They're not going to look at you like they used to. You know what I mean? So you got to make the choice to be in or out. See, and that's it. That's the way it goes. It's not the point of always being the pressure from the guys in the neighborhood, because that's a lot of that right there is urban myth, folk tales, you know what I mean, stuff like that there, you know what I'm saying?
Now, when you was a kid, were you paying attention to the football teams that different streets had, like the Raymond Midgets?
No, I didn't, but I used to go up to 24th on the weekends when they played football. Everybody play football. They used to play football on the weekends. I would go up there. I just go up there because Dalton Avenue played. They had Dalton had it. I know. It might have been Dalton and LaSalle, or was it Dalton? It might have been Dalton and LaSalle, because all these little streets had football teams. I think Brighton might have had a team, because if I'm not mistaken, I think they might have played at Vermont too. But I know they played at 24th. I remember. I think Dalton had a team. If I'm not mistaken, Dalton and LaSalle was together. Because when I would go up to 24th, everybody from over here would be together. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't remember the names of their teams, but I do remember the teams. I remember going to them on Saturday. That used to be a big deal.
I think Rocky and Cool Boy were on the Raymond.
Yeah, that sounds like their region. That's where they live at.
Yeah. Mount Vernon. Now that's Johnny Cochran.
Right.
You go from 24th to Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
That's when the gangbanging picks up, right?
I was already in it.
Yeah.
See, for everybody else it picked up. I was already in it. See, remember something, if you remember before when I told you I was 11 years old, I was already in it. I told you how they beat me up when I was 11 years old. These were grown men. I would see for everybody else it picked up then. For me, they were catching up. Because at Mount Vernon now, when I'm 13 years old, and I've already been associated and affiliated for the last 5 years, the guys that were in elementary school that used to be dancing, and the guys that used to want to dress and try to look nice, and the guys that was preppy and whatever they were, now they want to be a part of this right here. But I also remember this. I remember the time when you had what was called PPH. There was an era, a time, a space. It was PPH. It was Pimp Players Hustlers. A lot of them evolved and became something else, and they aligned themselves with different groups now and have become different kinds of gangs or whatever they become now. But in the time when they were strong, let us say 1978, I want to say, they were kind of, because there was a lot of them around, and you had a lot of dudes who wasn't just red and blue, because because specifically some of these groups might have had different color rags, but they say, hey, we ain't about the banging, we about money. So you got different colors that these guys wore. Specifically, I would say if a person made a proclamation to be a what we would say PPH, Pimp Player Hustler, they would have a white handkerchief hanging out their pocket rather than have a red one. I remember that. But they would always say, there was this argument that would take place, and I've heard it several times, gang banging is gonna play out, that shit gonna play out, it's gonna play out, it's gonna play out. 1978, right? By 1984, all of them same dudes that was arguing that point, they was all aligned with gangs now because their groups were aligned with gangs. You see what I'm saying? So if you was a hustler, whatever kind of hustler you was, but you're a hustler on, say, let us hypothetically use an area, like use a hustler, and you're a hustler on 27th and let us say Normandy, right? In order for your group to exist on 27th and Normandy, you gotta align yourself with the major group that is there so y'all can coexist peacefully. Am I correct when I say that? Yeah. So that means that you made an alignment with this here as an alliance, then you've also took on their opposition. Man, this is what was going on, this is what happened. A lot of the same guys, I remember, because I remember a lot of these dudes that talked against the gang banging and all this other stuff, and I remember later on seeing them. And it was funny to me because of the fact that through the transition of observing this here, it wasn't the point that they changed their minds, it's the point that the politics shifted. And there wasn't any room on the board for anything extra. There was no gray area. It was red or blue. There wasn't no room for no white, wasn't no room for no green, wasn't no room for, only way you had them colors associated is if that was associated with those gangs. There was no more standalone because you could see a person as a person by himself, and back they wore the Batman jackets, right? The windbreakers, and it would have this on the back of their jackets. A lot of them, it would say such and such a hustlers. Like the dancers also did it. So you would see guys like Royal Flush dancers. The Do Sevens might have a windbreaker on. It might say Do 7 players on the back of it. The Royal Flush, they might have Royal Flush on their jackets. You might have the different several groups that you had, whether it was dancers or whatever they were, they wore those windbreakers, the Batman jackets, and they would put the letters on the jackets. But the thing about it was that you could see one person by himself and he could make a proclamation, hey man, I'm a whoop hustler, player, whatever. So you could stand alone. When the politics shifted and the gang thing started to get more severe, it started to squeeze. And when it started to squeeze, what it did was, it squeezed all of the extra stuff out. So now the gangs is pushing up on the little hustler groups, the little friendly groups in their neighborhoods. Now y'all gotta come in, y'all gotta get in. So now you got a lot of confrontations taking place. Now you got a lot of conflicts taking place. See what I'm saying? Now you got escalation. And then at the same time, this is also at the doorstep of the inception of crack cocaine. So you observing this here and it's starting to grow and starting to elevate and starting to snowball. So now you see the same dude who said gangbang was gonna play out in 1984, in 1978, and it's 1984. Now we got crack cocaine. Now, but we have control of it because the gangs had the control because the government made sure it got to the gangs. So now, that same dude that was talking about he was a hustler, now he want to be with the gang. He trying to put some red on and some blue on because he trying to get put down. Everybody out there eating, all the gang members is eating and getting money, and the dudes call themselves hustlers is starving. So now what the hustlers gonna do? They gonna get with the gangsters. Am I correct when I say that? You gonna go where they eating at. Everybody wanna win.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? If your team ain't winning, you gonna try to side up with the team that is winning. Don't nobody wanna be hungry, but that was what the landscape was.